I think it's apt that we are talking of innovation and we are partnering with Google because the company which did not exist 12 years back does a revenue of over $12 billion a quarter and has a market cap, more than the GDP of I think maybe 100 plus countries or so. So that's the power of innovation. Innovation fetches you a lot of market value. It fetches you insane growth. So you need to have an idea which is insanely powerful. So when I met DRV and the challenge was how to take the Ramco product global, we always had very cool technology, just had to be packaged, had to be taken global. So without a brand name, without the size, without the wherewithal, how do we make it a great success? The key was, every time we get an opportunity in front of a client, we must wow the client so much, they almost fall off the chair. Then only they will select us over an SAP or Oracle. If you can't do that, then we have a little hope of succeeding in a very large organization. Given the challenge that we face of wowing the client and doing something very, very different and make the legacy ERP really look old and be the trendiest thing in town, we decided to work on a very different era of computing, a very different way of computing. This kind of defines our philosophy, our thinking, and I'll elaborate this a little bit more in the subsequent slide, but this virtually says all about us as of now, as a company. The way we are thinking, the way we are doing, the way we are building our products, the way everything is coming forward, it's based on this thinking. And we can debate over drinks whether what we are thinking is right or wrong. And we do it through music, where the M of music stands for mobile. So now, why mobile? We are saying mobile is the new terminal. One third of the Facebook, half of Twitter, over 6 billion mobile subscribers, 1.2 billion mobile web users or smartphone subscribers, of which 70% are GPS enabled. Last quarter shipments were 200 million smartphones were shipped last quarter. That's the level of usage of smartphones. And each smartphone is as much a terminal as anything else. So can we ignore this real estate? I mean, these many iPads are virtually reaching a stage where they will outnumber the number of PCs sold every month. So with this, it's quite evident that mobile and tablets are the new terminal, the new reality. And as the name suggests, they are not on desk, they are mobile. So mobile landscape has many players. But we are just focused on iOS and Android as part of our strategy, because that is 92% of the global OS today that exists. And rest is all 7-8% which we can't be bothered with at this stage. So our focus is iOS and Android. And the rest we will read through HTML. These two we will work in hybrid and native mode. The rest we won't. And what does mobile, the new terminal, mean? What does it mean to you as a person, as a company, and so on and so forth? It can be put to many use. Like companies have access cards. Access cards have numerous problems. Somebody leaves, somebody loses a card, somebody else can misuse it, and issuing of cards, retrieval of cards, etc., and so on and so forth. If mobile was the terminal, then life becomes a lot more easier. As long as you've captured mobile number in the database of an employee, you're done. And here, when you enter the office, you're welcome to the office. So your attendance is marked. If you're missing from office, they know you're missing from office. If you've gone to a customer visit, they know that you've gone to a customer visit. You enter, you open the door through this QR code, you don't need to swipe the access card out there anymore. It serves many purposes. So this takes care of lots and lots of things. Once you enter into a building, let's say you have an office in Nariman Point, you have an office in BKC and in Washi. Once you enter Washi, you know who all are there in Washi, your direct reports or anybody else out there. and what business you have with them, you can see. Just like your iPhone kind of notifications that you see. You can scan your receipts for your travel bills. Everything can be done at once. You don't need to keep a plethora of receipts and so on and so forth. So what we are showing to you is not something fiction or imagination. We are storing latitude and longitude for every noun that exists, whether mobile or stationary. Every customer, every supplier, every employee, every mechanic, every storekeeper, and so on and so forth. So we are storing in a database latitude and longitude, which can be translated to address by Google location, or an address can be translated to latitude and longitude, any of those things. And then maps. See, it makes a lot more sense to see data on maps. If you see data on maps, you must suddenly realize that more than half my customers are in BKC, but my office is in Andheri. So there it makes sense to be in BKC myself and so on. Unless you visually see data, it doesn't make sense. So spatial representation of data is becoming more and more important. We will see a complete case study from Madras Cement on this, so I won't dwell too much time on this. It's a very powerful tool to see data on a map rather than see on a terminal. And if you see it on a map, you can also see the red color dots. The size of the dot indicates the size of the revenue you may have. The red color may indicate whether your revenue is growing. The green color may indicate that the client is very healthy, profitable, and so on. So you can make your own notifications of that. So you can see green dots, red dots. You can identify the problem area that I don't seem to make any money in Gujarat. Maybe they bargain too hard with me, and so on. So whatever, you can draw your own conclusions of any kind that you may have from this data. We are available on App Store, so it's on Ramco apps are available on Apple App Store. From March onwards, we will be on Android as well, on a native hybrid mode. And these are modeled specifically for a device. It is not a same rendering for everybody else. This was the M part of the music. The U part of the music is we are dealing with digital natives, and people like me are possibly Gen A, not nowhere close to Gen Y. So to deal with these kind of people who are digital natives, we need to take care that we offer them a Facebook-like interface. So have you seen anybody using a manual trying to, with an app? No app comes with a manual. So why should your corporate systems come with manual, a lot of training and so on and so forth. So the design philosophy is based around it should be easy to use. It should be easy to read the information. Why should I hop into news? Why should I search? So if my hobby is I need some feeds coming in constantly, I need some data, I need to monitor the stock market and all things, I want to customize my screen how it works for me. That's what a person feels like. ERPs are not designed to be used like this. So this is the Gen Y interface we call it the wizard interface. This has gone live since August 24. So those of you who are using our system must be seeing this interface. So there are alerts out there are announcements, there are messages, there are action points. If you have to do approvals, you can just tick mark without launching the screens and so on, wasting your time. It's just like if those of you who use LinkedIn, for example, on mobile, I find it a lot more easier to use mobile than on terminal. Because anybody who want to accept the invitation, tick mark straight away there and cross it there, and that's about it. You're done with it. So this interface is as cool as that. Without launching the full screen, you can do the entire job. This we call the wizard interface. It also kind of indicates the steps that a person needs to do to finish a transaction. It also shows the context from which screen you came, which screen you are going to, blah blah and so on. So this has been live for a while. This is the hue of the user interface. There are many other elements of the user interface. There are floating nodes. There are floating portlets on a transaction screen, essentially to show a lot more graphics. I think we were talking to Sunil Padmanabhan today. He was saying that in HR and talent management, it's 70% graphics and 30% transaction data. So that's where we are headed to in terms of an enterprise company. But it's no longer 200 screens of data. It needs to be interspersed with a lot of information to make it relevant and useful. So this just goes on to describe the action messages. You approve a leave or you reject a leave, you can launch a screen, do whatever else. alerts and so on and so forth. Announcements, company-wide announcements that everybody needs to come in for or or the stock trading, because you're in a quiet period, the staff can't trade stock, and all those kind of announcements can go in one single go to all people. These are the wizards that you have. So if you're doing capacity planning, these are the steps you may have. You can define your own wizards that you want. You can define your own alerts that you want. So essentially, you manage your business by exception. What is your alert may not be somebody else's alert. Your alert may be if my sales in particular region dips 5% month on month is an alert for you. It's not an alert for somebody, but if you are in a dogfight of Coke and Pepsi, 1% drop of market share is a massive alert for the entire management team. So it's a matter of one person's alert is second person's nothing. So you have to define your own alerts. I'll skip through this quickly because we have a special team which designs for various devices, and analytics is embedded in everything that we do. And the embedding of analytics I'll show you on the next slide. So this is an employee self-service screen. We also call it the workspace model now. That is, you don't need to leave this screen. This screen is all an employee needs to do everything. I'm talking with normal employee, interaction with the company that takes place. Similarly, if you're a storekeeper, you will have your own space. You will just see that, and from that you can do everything. If you're a mechanic, you will see your own screen. If you're a salesperson, you will see your own screen. So in this screen, on the left side, you will see is the analytics. In the middle, you are doing the transaction. So let's say you're applying for leave. You will see all the kind of leaves, the balances that you have, and how much you have availed till now. The bottom is the transaction history. So whatever information that you may need for doing a transaction is available to you. If you're going to approve a leave, then it will show you all people who are taking leave simultaneously on a particular project. So you know if you are sanctioning the leave, how much problem you will run into in that particular project. So every piece of information that is relevant, if you are going to approve a hire request, it will tell you how many busted hires are there, how many actual hires are there, and how is the sales performance of the department before you approve. Because while they may be on 90% of staff capacity, they may be on 50% of revenue. On the left side, transaction is in the middle, all other actions that you may need to take on the right, and any policy document that you may see at the bottom corner, the top, what we call the functional groups, are the groups that you can do everything that you need to do with the system. You apply leave, you fill in expense, you request for hire, whatever employee needs to do with the company, gets done there. So based on what you need to do, this is the employee self-service screen. Similarly, you have manager self-service screen. So we have right now 14 workspaces that are already available, which can be seen. So these are role-based. It makes your life very, very easy. This is for aviation aircraft maintenance, something similar. And these are screens designed for a particular device. These are not force-fitted from a terminal onto. So this was on the usability part of it. Now we are on the S part of it, which is the speed. Here I am dealing with the generation of instant gratification. I want it now. Why can it take so long? Can I see the effect of this, blah, blah, and so on and so forth. With this generation, there is no patience. So given the fact that we are dealing with this generation, and you must have been hearing a lot about SAP's HANA and so on and so forth, which does things blindingly fast and so on and so on. So let's say we talk story of a cost accountant. He really wants to know, if I were to change it to the last price that I have, how does the customer price should look like? Or if I were to take an average of the inventory because I bought a lot of inventory earlier, the price you may be selling may be even lower than the raw material cost that you may have. So all these decisions, iteration of them is now possible because this can be done in memory. Similarly, production planning. Normally nobody does production runs or MRP runs very often. Now you can do many MRP runs, you can do what if runs and so on and so forth. Because in memory it will get run in minutes instead of many days, hours, this, that and so on. People normally do an MRP run within a day. Now you can do MRP runs very often to check how can you plan your production, whether you can honor an order or not, whether you can meet the timeline or not, how many extra people you may need, how many extra lines you may need to activate, all this, how many trucks you may need, blah, blah. And some of this is gone live. For example, this is gone live for a ready mix plant in Abu Dhabi. whereby ready mix has to be poured into whatever construction site in 1 to 3 hours time, otherwise it solidifies and goes waste. So how to schedule how many trucks to be filled up, how many trucks to reach site, how much quantity to pour in case there's a traffic jam, how quickly to stop the entire chain of production, truck loading, everything, or divert the trucks to various sites. So all this happens in real time. All this is possible only through inventory processing. So we call it, the name we have given is Minal, which in Sanskrit or Tamil means lightning, which is lightning fast. So just to give an example of how fast it is. This is the number of beers that you see the dots, amount of time it takes to consume that many beers. So person getting bored watching the payroll processing done, finish that many beers. So once you are using Minal, in one sip your payroll is over. I mean, it's a bad thing that we are not letting people drink too much beer. But the fact is that this is the amount of time that it takes with Minal. It can run up to 100 times faster as well. So somebody told me that, people may be culturally sensitive. We want to show coffee there. I said nobody drinks that many glasses of coffee. People drink that many glasses of beer for sure. So that coffee example is not an apt example. Then they say, but just in case, you are presenting to people who may not like the idea of beer being there. I said, in that case, we don't want to sell to those customers. So, what's wrong in having, that's an ultra conservative idea of not having the beer in this type. This is agent technology. This is something PRV on one of his trips to Switzerland liked that piece of technology so much that he came back with the source code. The source code has been lying with us for about 4 or 5 months, not knowing what to do. So one fine day we convinced one of the PhDs of the office to have him look at it and do something useful. And I being the Agarwal I said that it will make us money if we can make it run our payroll much faster. That's where I see a lot of money. So that's how we misused it for payroll. It was born for APO, advanced planning and optimization. That's how the payroll story came, because we said let's put it to some use which will fetch us some administrative revenue. And then along with this technology came this agent-based technology, which is a technology in which lots of agents are constantly monitoring and alive and seeing what's going on and do things which a normal human being would do. These are agents working in parallel and in memory, and based on what are the events taking place in your database, in your company, are taking action. For example, your driver doesn't report for duty, to reschedule another driver, you need to reschedule the consignments to some other things and so on. So all this is being done by agents in real-time basis. So trips get altered, there is snow there, storm there, anything happening, so you need to inform customers this will not come, or there is some repackaging. All this to be done in real time. And this Abu Dhabi thing that I told you was based on agent-based technology. All this happens in real time. For example, the school teacher reports 7:30 the school starts, 7 p.m. she reports sick. I'm unable to come to school today. So then the next thing is the agent has to quickly look for what we call relief teachers, people who will come at short notice and start teaching, to exactly tell them which class to come, which to do, what all subject to teach and so on and so forth. And based on the subject they teach, the teacher absent, assign the teacher. So all this is agent-based technology. So this is not available into every transaction that we have, but it can be done for a customer real-time situation. If you have a problem, we can use this technology to solve it, like we have done for this client in Abu Dhabi. And we have done it for payroll for a company which has 110,000 employees and was taking forever to run the payroll. And if payroll run was aborted by any chance, then they had a lot of problem paying people. So you can do interactive what-if analysis, real-time processing, decision support, and everything else. It's imagination. It's like, having much more than an iLog engine running in memory as part of the ERP. And it makes some practical rule-based sense for you. It's simple to. In fact, we are writing all new countries' payroll using this rule-based engine. So, you can use it for anything. It's a rule-based engine, which runs in parallel and in memory. All you have to do is to do a quick bulk upload of your database or data structure onto the network. So we were on the speed part of music. Now we are on the I part of music, which is intuitive and intelligent. So any one of you has reapplied or renewed your passport? You must have filled the same form that you filled the first time, right? And at least in Singapore, the form reaches to your house. I don't know how it happens. I have been 20 years out of India now, so I don't really know. The form came to my house in Singapore that your passport is due for renewal. Please fill it up and send. It had the same 52 fields that it always had. And I filled up my father's name, my mother's name, as if that would have changed. My hometown, my place of birth, nothing would have changed. And the fact that it reached my house, the address wouldn't have changed. So instead of asking me to just fill up the change stuff, it asked me to fill up everything. So everyday life we face this. When we are coming into immigration, we fill up the form. I don't know why we fill up the form. If you go to Malaysian immigration, you fill no form nowadays. Because the one swipe of the passport, they have everything that they need. Possibly they may need to know that whether you're on a group tour or on a business trip, nothing more, or which hotel you are staying in. But to ask you for other things, it's very careless to do. And similarly, if you have filled up the PAN card, rest of the information is meaningless. Why the asking information is not clear to me. So, we can't do anything about those systems, but we can do something about our ERP. So, if you are filling timesheet and you have been working for one project for past 6 months, why should the project code not default? In fact, why should the number of hours should not default? If all you have been filling 8 hours every day. And all you need to do is, I want to change it, just take it, otherwise the person says, I'm logging you for 8 hours for today, yes, no, yes, fine, no, change the hours, log, apply, leave, do whatever it is. And for example, if you are a mechanic and you maintain aeroplanes, and all you specialize in landing gear, why should you see the other 1.6 million parts that go into Boeing 777? You should only see the part that go into landing gear. And if you are applying for 1 day leave, why should it not default to casual leave? Why should I ask you leave type? Or if you are applying for 10 days leave, why should it not default to privilege leave? And if you don't have balance, why should it not default to sick leave? So usage based data defaulting. If a particular user uses something more often, more frequently, it shows up in that particular value. So much of this is work in progress. Some of this you will start seeing in our products soon. We have some PhDs from IIT Madras who are writing the algorithm because we want a generic value built. Plus you have to also check the speed. We can't at runtime see the most frequently used values for the user. What stage to load, how often to load, whether to aggregate, whether to do it at runtime. Those are some of the items to be debated and sorted out. And how much taxation of the CPU it is doing, etc., etc. But you will see it very soon because once the algorithm is written, tested, then it's a matter of just defining in the data dictionary. And since we are with Google here, I thought we'll touch upon the topic of context aware. And I've touched some of these topics, but I will not dwell too much into this, so I'll keep this slide very short because there are Google people are presenting, and then we are presenting a complete case study on with Google. But some of the screens I'll just skip and see what other Google products we have integrated. The Google Maps is something you have seen that we integrate with Google Maps. So in our screen, we generate latitude and longitude, and we give either the lookup access for the Google Maps from where you are, or it comes in the map based on the situation that we are in. Google authentication is like many things will have Facebook sign in or Google sign in. So in case you are using Google Mail and you standardize on Google, you can use a Google authentication to sign into our ERP. Google location is, if you pin touch on the map, it can give you the address. Latitude, longitude converts to address, address converts to latitude, longitude is what Google location. Google Play Store is like Apple iTunes. Google Earth is something they will possibly show you is running there as well, and so on. So all these tools are integrated into our app, which you see here. We are partners of Google, and more and more you see our product more spatial, that means well represented on the map. And as Google refreshes the data more and more often, you can see your own assets more and more often. For example, we have 24,000 hectares of mines for our cement business. So we see encroachment taking place on that mines or not. In a lot of countries, Google refreshes the map very often, so you can really see what's going on really out there. So that's all from my side for today. And rest, if any thoughts and ideas you may have, we can chat up during the break. Thank you so much.